In question 7, we are looking at finance, and we've got Nick, who is very lucky because he has quite a sizable trust fund and has decided to donate 8% of the money remaining in his trust to charity. We're asked to find the maximum number of years that Nick can donate to charity while keeping at least $50,000 in the trust fund. So the key thing to recognise here is that our principal, our initial amount of money is $150,000. And what happens if he gives away 8% a year means that that's actually going to decrease by 8% per year. So we're going to multiply by 1 minus 8 over 100. And that's going to happen each year. So we can use n to represent the number of years that happens. And we're asked to find the maximum number of years that he can donate to charity while keeping at least 50,000 in the trust. So we want this to be greater than or equal to 50,000. So in effect, what we're going to have to do here is solve for n. So there are two ways that you could solve this equation as it stands. So the first method is to use nsolve. So on nsolve, you would just replace this with an x and put this in the first box, this in the second box, and solve it. Or you could graph it. So you would graph y equals 150,000 times 0.92 to the power x, and then as a separate graph, you would graph y equals 50,000 and find the intersection. Or you could, as a completely separate method, use the finance app. So if you're going to use the finance app, the interest rate is, well, it's not interest rate, it's depreciating by 8%, so I equals -8. The present value, this is an investment, so we're at -150,000, and it ends up at 50,000, so we put that in for -50,000. The payments per year is 1, and the compounding periods per year is 1. So if you go then to n, the number of years, and solve, you will get the final answer of 13.18, which therefore is going to give a final answer of 13 years. Again, in part B, there are a couple of different ways you can solve this question. So the first way, you just need to be mindful that it's compounded quarterly, is to use the formula. So again, your principal is 200,000, and we are going to be multiplying that by 1 plus, because we're getting interest, so we're receiving money here. So 1 plus 5% multiplied by 4, because here we're compounded quarterly, so it's going to be that, and then to the power 8 years and 4 periods per year. So if you put that into the calculator, you will solve it and get an answer of 297,626.10, correct to the nearest cent. Or alternatively, you could just use the finance app again. So if you're going to use the finance app, n, the number of years equals 8, the interest rate is 5%, the present value is -200,000 because it's an investment, the payments per year is 1, and the compounding periods per year is 4 because it's compounded quarterly. And again, if you then look at the future value and you solve on the finance app, you will end up with the same answer.